Hey YouTube, it is Numistaka and I'm back with you today to talk about a very, very special and very, very rare Australian coin, the 1918 Perth Mint half sovereign. It may look like a rather bog standard king half sovereign, which may be normally associated with being a bullion coin, but this particular coin has a very interesting history, and it is certainly not that kind of coin. It's actually a rarer coin than, say, the 1930 Australian penny, which is another kind of very well-known Australian rarity, another enigmatic coin. But the 1918 Perth half sovereign is a very interesting coin, and whilst it was minted around about 1918, it wasn't really picked up and discovered in any way and published in terms of its existence until 1967, when the Australian Coin Review magazine published an article about it, and the first ones started to be uncovered. It's thought, and no one really knows the exact number that exists, but it's thought that something between 100 and 250 coins may exist in collectors' hands, or are thought to exist based on submission numbers to the grading companies and various news stories over the years. But this particular coin has an interesting history with lots of lots of myth, lots of unknowns, lots of conjecture, and there are quite a few articles that have been written about this coin for a while. Some of the background to this coin. In 1918, at the Perth Mint, no half sovereigns were struck. Clearly there were dies for the 1918 half sovereign. However, during that particular year, there is no record of them being struck. In 1919 and 1920, there were records of half sovereigns being struck, and yet the 1920 dies did not actually reach the Perth Mint from London, from the Royal Mint, until I think March 1920. And there are no half sovereigns dated 1919 or 1920 from the Perth Mint. So, what are the areas of mystery when it comes to this coin? Let's first look at the mintages of sovereigns that are thought to have happened. The exact mintage figures for the 1918 Perth half sovereign, they are surrounded with mystery and distrust and conjecture, but according to Sterling Currency, one of the main dealers over in Australia, they calculated the mintage as being 219,988 coins. Of those, they reckon that in 1919, 113,500 were minted, and in 1920, 106,416 were minted. But none of those coins seem to have been put into circulation. They all seem to have been held in a bank vault. And there are lots of questions about kind of what happened to them, where they went to after the First World War, and everything was a little bit up in the air regarding these things. So, although we know that quite a large number of these sovereigns were issued, there was a dictate, and the Commonwealth government was asked to export a quantity of gold in the form of these half sovereigns. No one knows exactly where they were exported to. It's thought possibly that they were exported to India and melted down. But the Royal Mint annual report for 1919 states that a considerable amount of the coin and bullion produced at the Perth branch mint has, it is understood, been exported in the interests of the Gold Producers Association, and this includes the whole of the half sovereigns produced and the whole of the gold bullion for export. Whether the Commonwealth Government expressly requested that a certain quantity of gold intended for export should be coined into half sovereigns as opposed to sovereigns remains to be determined. It's a bit of a mystery why Perth Mint staff chose to prepare all this gold in the form of half sovereigns over the other forms they had available. That's also a question that needs to be determined. But if anyone has the answers to these questions, it may shed further light on why the vast majority of the 1918 Perth half sovereigns have never seen the light of day. Whether they were shipped to India or someone else remains unknown. There is some conjecture that they may be in great big sacks underneath one of the Sikh temples in India. Or they may have been melted down into some other form when they arrive, but very, very few of them have made their way into collectors' hands over the years. So, according to the article from Sterling Currency, they say that although a few have been unearthed in the last few years, the total number known probably does not exceed 25. A great rarity, internationally important, a little softly struck on St George's knee, otherwise good EF. And so those coins started changing hands for up to 3, 4, 5,000 Australian dollars. More recently, I've read articles that say that there are probably a few more than 25, and certainly more than 25 have been graded or in the population reports, although, as we know, lots of coins that go into the population reports are resubmitted over and over again, so those population reports are quite often not very accurate. So that's a little bit of the background on this 1918 sovereign. Let us now get up close and personal with this particular sovereign that you have been looking at and that I've unboxed today. So you can see that it's in very nice condition, a nice golden colour. It probably is not the highest graded example that is known, but it is a really, really nice condition coin given the grade of MS62 by NGC. I don't know whether it's been previously conserved. There's no easy way of finding that out. Coin Connection is your connection to quality assured modern coins. Use code CHRIS for a 2% discount on anything you buy this month. Welcome back, and if you do happen to want to buy a modern coin and you were going to buy it direct from the Royal Mint, then do consider using the Coin Connection. There is a little bit of benefit to the channel and the kind of coins I'm able to show you on the channel, and you'll also get 2% off whatever the standard web price is. So let's now take a look at this mysterious envelope. It's been very well kept. It was addressed to obviously a very excited collector, Mr. E.S. Davis in Kent, and it's dated 1976, the hot summer, just before the hot summer of 1976 in Great Britain. And he'd obviously come across this coin and didn't know at the time whether it was authentic or not. And it's maybe he decided that rather than send it to a third-party grading company at that stage, he would send it off for authenticity checking to the Royal Mint. And that is a service that they provide still. It costs between, I think, about £50 and £200 to get the Royal Mint to pronounce on the history, background and authenticity of any Royal Mint produced coin. But it's rather charming, isn't it, to see an old letter produced by typewriter, the old days before we all did everything on Microsoft Word, saying, "Dear Mr. Davis, you will be pleased to know that your 1918 P for Perth half sovereign already returned to you is genuine." And that must have been an absolutely wonderful letter to receive in the 70s. Don't forget, this coin was not even known until 1967. So this is literally 9 years after the discovery of this coin. Only very few had been discovered, and this was one of a very, very, very precious, still is one of a very, very precious few coins to be uncovered with that mysterious 1918p. And people must have originally thought they'd discovered some kind of counterfeit coin, because when they look in the mintages before all this was known, it just said mintage for 1918p half sovereigns 0. And then obviously you heard the story in the first part of this video, how all of the dies were sent late. They weren't produced in 1918, and the 1920 and 1919 production was actually 1918 minted coins, and then all those coins just vanished, disappeared. Either somebody has them in a very, very large, very secure personal collection, or they were melted down, or they're in the base of an Indian temple. Whatever the outcome, whatever, unless somebody finds a great big hoard of these coins, they will always be one of those rare enigmatic coins, of interest to collectors both in Australia and in the UK, and of course worldwide too. But I think this coin is more interesting than the 1930 Australian penny to worldwide coin collectors, because it has the advantage of being an Australian coin and a British coin at the same time, produced with dies from the Royal Mint as a British coin, looking the same as a British coin, being used instead of a British coin, whereas the Australian penny is a specific coin for use in Australia. But you can see here the P Mint mark at the back. And the Perth Mint itself has such an amazing history, and is renowned for quality and innovation, even right now to this day. But what a great start they had in terms of these incredibly beautiful historical coins. So if you do come across a half sovereign and you look on the date and it is a 1918p, then let me know. You probably got yourself a coin that's worth up to $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, or pounds even. These coins really, I think, will be highly desired historical coins for many, many years. So I hope you enjoyed the historical perspective and the unboxing of this rare coin. It is a coin that is pretty exceptional, really, to be able to have in a collection, and I'm very happy to be able to handle and have this coin to look at and to cherish. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, click on the little bell, and I will see you very, very soon with more coins.